As I Walk These Broad Majestic Days by Walt Whitman, 1819 to 1892. As I walk these broad majestic days of peace, for the war, the struggle of blood finished, wherein, O terrific ideal, against vast odds, erewhile having gloriously won, now thou stridest on, yet perhaps in time toward denser wars, perhaps to engage in time in still more dreadful contests, dangers, longer campaigns and crises, labours beyond all others. Around me I hear the eclat of the world, politics, produce, the announcement of recognized things, science, the approved growth of cities and the spread of inventions. I see the ships, they will last a few years, the vast factories with their foremen and workmen, and hear the indorsement of all, and do not object to it. But I too announce solid things. Science, ships, politics, cities, factories are not nothing. Like a grand procession to music of distant bugles pouring, triumphantly moving, and grander heaving in sight. They stand for realities. All is as it should be. Then my realities? What else is so real as mine? Libertà and the divine average, freedom to every slave on the face of the earth, the rapt promises and lumine of seers, the spiritual world, these centuries lasting songs and our visions, the visions of poets, the most solid announcements of any. Okay, this is a poem by Walt Whitman. Let's see, Walt Whitman was an American poet, an essayist, a journalist. He's one of the most influential American poets. He's probably the person who invented free verse. And notice this doesn't rhyme. There's no rhyming scheme. This is free verse. He was born on Long Island and he lived in Brooklyn. He left school at age 11 and started work. He was a journalist, a teacher, a clerk. Anyway, what's this about? Well, the first thing to say about this poem is just after the American Civil War. So, say 1870. And this poem is looking at what's going to happen to society. And the importance of the poet as something crucial within society. That the world is changing, the world is going forward. There is industrialization, but the poet and the ideal of art and what we and our visions or our souls, and let's see, it's predicting that the world is changing, the world is going on very rapidly. Yes, they have just come out of the American Civil War, but maybe the world is going towards even more terrible wars. the world is going towards industrialization and industrialized war, and he's very, very correct with this. The First World War is much more industrialized warfare. The second, again, and let's see this poem. It's saying that we have to recognize the poet is something crucial. Society and industrialization is moving on, but we mustn't forget the sentiments, the feelings, the emotions of the people, the emotions of the poet, the feelings that are thrown up by art. So let's see this. As I walk these broad, majestic days of peace. Okay, so I'm walking in peace. This is a celebration that we are that peace is here. For the war, the struggle of blood finished. Wherein, O terrific ideal, against vast odds, erewhile having gloriously won. So the war has finished, and the terrible struggle, the terrible slaughter of blood has been finished, and against all these difficulties now society is moving forward again, and we are moving on after this terrible struggle of blood. Now thou stridest on, yet perhaps in time toward denser wars. So now society is moving on, society is developing, industrialization is here, and maybe society is moving on to even more intense wars, even worse wars, perhaps to engage in time in still more dreadful contests, dangers, longer campaigns, and crises, labours beyond all other. So, as society is becoming more industrialized, as society is advancing, there are inventions. As our ability increases, so our ability to have problems, to have crises, to have wars. Around me, I hear the eclat of the world, politics, produce. Okay, so the eclat here is the success of the world, the splendor of the world. So around me I hear the splendor of the world. The world is blossoming. Politics, produce the things coming out of the factories, the announcement of recognized things, science. So the world is growing, science is growing, there are more and more inventions. The improved growth of cities and the spread of inventions. Cities are growing massively, and there are new inventions, new things, and the world is moving on and growing. I see the ships. They will last a few years. Now is creating enormous ships, but these aren't going to last very long, these enormous new ships. Times are changing. And this I think is a metaphor for the fact that yes, we've got wonderful new things, but these new things are going to be replaced themselves by new things. The vast factories with their foremen and the workmen. So huge factories making things, making. And hear the indorsement of it all and do not object to it. So everybody agrees with how wonderful this progress is. They endorse this progress, and they don't object to it. They think this progress is a great thing. But I too announce solid things. So I, as a poet, also give you realities. So don't ignore the poet. The soul of the poet, the beauty of the poet, the emotions expressed by the poet. Don't forget these things. As a poet, I talk of these. Science, ships, politics, cities, factories are not nothing. So all of this grand progress of the world, this is not nothing. This is important. Like a grand procession to music of distant bugles pouring, triumphantly moving, and grander heaving in sight. They stand for realities, as is all is as it should be. So as a poet, I also talk to you about real things, things that are important. And yes, the science and the politics and the factory are a procession moving forward triumphantly, becoming grander and grander. And these are all realities. And this is as it should be, man growing, man becoming a better and more important. Then my realities. What else is so real as mine? So now the realities of the soul, the realities of the poet, the realities of emotion, because these are different to the realities of progress. And the rights, obligations, the quality of freedom, of justice, and all of these things are real. Liberty and the divine average. Now this phrase, the divine average, is quite interesting. The divine average, this is the average man, the average Joe in the street, the average man who is working, or the average lady who is working towards a better a future. And he believes the divine average is the motor that will bring America forward. But the wonder, the ambitions of these people, the freedom of these people, the freedom to every slave on the face of the earth. So he's saying that the poets are talking about freedom, and freedom for people is real. The rapt promises and luminae of seers. So what the seers, what the predictions for the future, the spiritual world, these centuries lasting songs. So we mustn't forget the spiritual world, the spirit of the human, the spirit of freedom, the spirit of ambition, the spirit of love, and all of these things are talked about by the poet. And our visions, the visions of poets, the most solid announcements of any, and the things that the poets talk about, these are the most important things, because these are the emotions, the spiritual world, these are everything. These are as important as the progress of the nation. The spirit of the nation needs to progress in the same way that industrialization improves. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. As I walk these broad majestic days, by Walt Whitman.